Now I give you Whip Not Child, Ngugi Wa Thiong'o. Whip Not Child, Ngugi Wa Thiong'o. The story Whip Not Child begins in a rural village where Njoroge lives with his family. His father, Ngoto or Ngoto, works as a laborer on the land that originally belonged to his ancestors. However, the land is now owned by a wealthy white settler. Mr. Hollands, due to colonial land grabbing, Mr. Holland, who actually grabbed this piece of land. This injustice is a constant source of tension in the village and deeply affects Ngoto, who feels humiliated working on his own ancestral land as a servant. Despite his family's poverty, Njoroge is a bright and ambitious boy. His greatest desire is to attend school. Education represents hope for him, a way to escape poverty and bring dignity to his family. His mother and some family members support his dream, even though they struggle financially. Njoroge's chances comes when he is sponsored to attend school by Jacobo, a wealthy African collaborator who works closely with the colonial government. This opportunity fills Njoroge with excitement and determination. He believes education will transform his life and allow him to help his family. However, life in the village is becoming increasingly unstable due to rising tensions between Africans and the colonial government. The Mau Mau movement, a resistance group fighting for land and freedom, begins to grow stronger. Many young men join the movement, including Njoroge's brothers, Boro and Kamau, though their motivations differ. Boro is bitter and angry because he served in the British Army during World War II, expecting rewards that never came. Instead, he returns home disillusioned and resentful. Kamau, on the other hand, is influenced by the struggles for land and justice. The conflict divides families and creates fear in the community. Njoroge remains focused on his education, believing it is separate from the violence around him. However, the political situation worsens. The colonial government declares a state of emergency and violence spread across the country. Villagers are forced to choose sides between supporting the Mau Mau fighters or the colonial authorities. Ngoto becomes increasingly involved in the struggle for land. He feels a deep connection to the land he works on and believes it belongs to his people. His loyalty to tradition and justice puts him in direct conflict with Jacobo, who represents colonial collaboration. This tension eventually leads to tragedy. Jacobo is seen as a traitor by many villagers, and his relationship with the community becomes hostile. The conflict between him and Ngoto escalates, symbolizing the larger struggle between colonizers and the colonized. As the violence intensifies, Njoroge's education is interrupted. Schools close and fear spreads throughout the village. The dream that once gave him hope begins to collapse under the weight of political chaos. Still, he tries to remain focused, believing that education will eventually save him. The situation reaches a breaking point when Ngozi is accused of involvement in the resistance movement. He is arrested and tortured by colonial authorities. This marks a turning point in the family's life as their stability begins to crumble. Meanwhile, Boro fully embraces violence as a means of resistance. He joins the Mau Mau fighters and becomes deeply involved in their armed struggle. His actions reflect the desperation of those who feel that peaceful means are no longer effective. The most devastating moment in the novel comes when Jacobo is killed during a confrontation involving Ngozi's family. This event leads to severe consequences for Ngozi and his household. He is arrested, and this time the punishment is harsher. The colonial system shows no mercy to those suspected of resistance. Njoroge, who has always believed in education and peace, is suddenly thrust into a world of fear and loss. His dreams begin to fall apart as his family suffers one tragedy after another. The hope he once had for the future is slowly destroyed by the realities of colonial violence. Eventually, Njoroge is also arrested and interrogated. He is accused of being connected to the Mau Mau movement, even though he has never ever taken part in violence. The psychological pressure and trauma he experiences break his spirit. After his release, Njoroge returns home only to find his family shattered. His father is dead, his brothers are either imprisoned or missing, and his mother is left struggling alone. The once hopeful boy is now emotionally destroyed. Njoroge's final dream, to use education to uplift his family and community, collapses completely. He realizes that the colonial system has taken everything from him: his family, his innocence, and his future. The novel ends on a deeply emotional note, showing Njoroge as a broken young man, stripped of hope. Weep not,